Welcome back to the Canada Specialist Program series. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome Holly back to the series. Some of you may have seen Holly on the series before. Absolutely love her presentations. They're always so beautiful, so spiritual. So I'm really looking forward to this one today, Holly, because I know you've got something special to talk about. So I'm not going to ruin that. Holly, I'm going to hand over to you.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. Welcome. It's kind of a nice lead-in, Andy. Cruise Canada, I welcome you travel some of the route into my region, Ontario's Highlands. So I'm thrilled. So look forward to expanding on that for all of you. Uh, I am representing the new Canadian Canoe Museum in Gimon, Kinomegowan, la Musée Canadien du Canoe. The Canadian Canoe Museum's logo plays tribute to the pictograph of 8 in a canoe with 2 long paddles. Please note on the upper left, I'm also wearing a little pin of this little logo. It inspired the museum's original logo. This pictograph is located on a rock face at Pictured Lake within the traditional territory of the Fort Williams First Nations in Thunder Bay. The brilliance of the canoe, crafted to travel a land of water. Ontario is the Indigenous word meaning land of shimmering water. It's when the sunlight hits the water with a little riffle of wind and sparkles like diamonds. Welcome to the newly opened Canadian Canoe Museum. It's located on the traditional territories of the Williams Treaties First Nations in Peterborough. The 2-story, sustainably designed, purpose-built museum sits on a 5-acre lot and echoes its natural surroundings. The museum's 65,000 square foot home and lakefront campus inspires all to learn about Canada's collective history, its peoples and connections to the land, water, and one another through the unique lens of the iconic canoe. For more than 25 years, the Canadian Canoe Museum has become the steward of the world's largest collection of canoes, kayaks, and paddled watercraft. Found initially by Kirk Whipper, a camp director of a summer camp titled Candelore, who was gifted a dugout canoe in 1957. Whipper's collection grew to over 150 by the late 1960s. He constructed a facility to house his collection at the camp. However, its growing collection outgrew it. Whipper was contacted by a group of individuals, including several affiliated with Trent University, who were interested in moving his collection to a permanent exhibit space. Whipper agreed to the proposal and a board of directors was formed in 1989. In 1994, Kirk donated his entire collection to the new Canadian Canoe Museum, a legacy gift. Upon entry to the museum, one is in awe of the glass-etched window featuring a hydrological map featuring Hudson's Bay, James Bay, and the 5 Great Lakes. If one looked at a map of Ontario, it is blessed with more water than land. Welcome to the atrium. Artistically features flying canoes. The museum's reception counter and a cafe with a quiet space to reflect and enjoy a wood fireplace with both indoor and outdoor seating arrangements. The atrium also features the museum's attractive gift shop and leads us into the Living Traditions Center and into the museum's heart of housing the museum's collection all under one roof. Can you imagine? A collection hall displays fully the museum's more than 600 watercraft in a Class A controlled museum environment. Note the cedar bough trimmings. This symbolizes the living origins of all of these watercraft. A special waking up ceremony was conducted when the collection was reopened. Once called the cathedral, I still feel the universe of the spirit of the flying canoe. Each watercraft able to tell its own unique and beautiful story of so many lives lived and memories held. Notably, the museum's curator, Jeremy Ward, demonstrates his passion and careful orchestration for this magical space. The museum offers a special VIP free book tour for guests with the curator, followed by a special après canoe on the upper level hall overlooking the waterfront. The two great visionaries of this museum, fully integrated concept, design, and central to this transformation are Carolyn Hislop, Executive Director, and Jeremy Ward, Curator. Carolyn brings over 20 years of experience at the museum's previous location and led the charge in the transition of the museum from a purely cultural tourism focus to broadening the visitor-centric experience to capture recreational, hands-on, immersive outcome through the exploration of engaging exhibits, participatory in-house workshops, relaxation and meditative spaces on the lakefront campus, or engaging in an adventure via canoe, kayak, or voyageur canoe from the waterfront docks. This has become a must-do. Jeremy's 30 years of curatorial expertise at the museum has managed to foster meaningful relationships with storytellers from across the country, weaving together diverse narratives that highlight how the canoe connects us to the land, the water, and each other. Jeremy has been critical to shaping the new museum with his curatorial team to develop exhibits that explore our collective past, present, and future through shared experiences and voices of the peoples whose lives have been intimately shaped by the canoe. As expressed aptly by the Canadian Canoe Route patron, author and past newspaper editor Roy McGregor, with the title of his recent book, No Canoe, No Canada. The Swirl, found at the entrance to the 20,000 square foot exhibit hall, captures a variety of canoes and kayaks floating around a circular cartography map of the waterways of Canada. This creative Indigenous crafted floor map starts the visitor's experience with the exhibit space called Headwaters and instills the desire to explore the library of the canoe in relation to Canada. This map is ringed by words of various origins for canoe, paddle, and for water. All my relations. Paddled watercraft are found worldwide. From ancient traditions to contemporary perspectives, discover how canoes and kayaks foster strong and meaningful connections through shared experience, passion, and values. Connected by the canoe. Introduced to Europeans by Indigenous peoples, the canoe has connected populations across this land for millennia. Learn how canoes have been central to trade, commerce, mapping North America, communication of ideas, and colonization. Pushing the limits. Setting out on the water offers opportunities for adventure, but also exposure to risk. You may know this person, Claudia Van Wyck, who's in the exhibit space, otherwise known as the Whitewater Lady, the owner with her husband Dirk of owl rafting on the Ottawa River, with her daughter Steffi, now managing director of the Madawaska Canoe Center, an international center for canoe, kayak, whitewater instruction. Living traditions. Admire the diverse methods and traditions of canoe and kayak building while learning about different design and construction methods and how they reflect the culture, aesthetics, and identity of the builders. This approach not only preserves the historical significance of the artifacts, but also creates an important space where cultural exchange can flourish, visitors can engage with stories from across Canada, and learn to appreciate the canoe's lasting impact on both Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities. Reflections. Leave inspired by how watercraft can be used as a tool for healing, linking knowledge across generations, and motivating us to take action to protect our communities and their environment. On the back door of the museum leads us to the picturesque lakefront campus and links the museum to the Trans-Canada Trail and the scenic waterfront on the Trent Severn Waterway of Little Lake, a widening of the Otonabee River. The Trent Severn Waterway, managed by Parks Canada, is a series of interconnected lakes and canals crossing southern Ontario, connecting Georgian Bay in the west to Lake Ontario in the southeast. It also connects to Beaver Mead campground for RVs, which is exceptional. Peterborough, at its midpoint, was once the international hub of wooden canoe manufacturing in Canada. Here, for example, can you imagine the William English Canoe Company? The Canoe House, centrally positioned, provides canoes, kayak equipment rentals with 2 expansive seasonal docks to accommodate on-water and outdoor education programming. But it's what extends beyond the docks is truly the magic of the museum setting, with the desire to fulfill a sense of adventure and being able to facilitate a paddle excursion or paddle together for the first time with a group of fellow travelers as a first voyage in a canoe de nod that creates a connected bond. Just around the corner from the museum's docks is Lock 21 of 45 of the Trent Severn Waterway, a National Historic Waterway. Here, in partnership with Parks Canada, visitors can experience first-hand passage through a hand-operated lock, and then, within a short paddle, take in the largest hydraulic lift lock in the world, whose construction was completed in 1912, an unexpected structure that complements Peterborough's townscape, and an engineering marvel to behold. The construction of the hydraulic lift lock was overseen by Superintendent Rogers to overcome a 65-foot or a 26-meter change in elevation at the site. After examination of lift locks in England and Europe, Rogers supervised the 8-year process to construct the walls, towers, and erect the metal tubs on steel rams. Built mainly by Canadian companies, the lock officially opened in 1904 with the provision of passage from May to October. Alternatively, for those not so adventurous, City Cruise operates daily cruises of 3 hours duration from Peterborough's harbor to take in these breathtaking assets. Connection to the Canadian Canoe Museum comes about with the creation of the Canadian Canoe Route and its signature passport. To experience the true wonder of the canoe, travel the Canadian Canoe Route for a rich, authentic collection of immersive and cultural experiences that tell the legendary story of Indigenous peoples' greatest of gifts. It's logistically tailored for fly drive, motorhome, and coach from Toronto to Ottawa or vice versa. The route showcases Ontario's Highlands and the Kawarthas' world-renowned freshwater lakes and rivers. To explore the first birch bark canoes and how they were handcrafted, learn to paddle flatwater, whitewater, or heritage rivers in a Voyager or modern canoe, the inflatable raft. Let the canoe provide safe passage. The paddle, one's connection with water. And as you just saw, the passport to be stamped. Explore this legacy route by following this map and itinerary inserted in the passport, with gateway access from Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, or from Kingston. Key attractions are identified by the cross canoe paddles, 18 Ontario provincial parks, and are ideally located along the route for scenic car camping or to provide motorhome and comfort station facilities. For those fly drive, minibus, or coach, Ontario's Highlands offers a beautiful collection of hotels, boutique inns, wilderness lodges, resorts to fully sustainable cabins, cabanas, and glamping for consideration. Canadian Canoe Museum and I invite your guest to explore this world-class facility. The Canadian Canoe Museum was recognized as one of the best cultural spots by National Geographic's Best of the World in 2024. So very grateful for this webinar. Thank you. And please reach out, trade@ohto.ca, or visit our travel trade site, ohtraveltrade.ca. Thanks, Charlie.
Thank you so much, Holly. It's so exciting for you to have this iconic museum in your region, which already has so much to offer, which we've seen before. And actually, I did share a link to your last year's webinar where you did go in a bit more depth and different routes, but the canoe route, that's an amazing addition to all of those options for exploring the region.